Hey, what's going on, everybody? Doing a Sunday live stream today to bring a little attention to the southern border crisis that we have ongoing here in the United States for over a year now. And with me today, have a really cool guest, my friend Vicky Richter, who is an independent journalist, and she has been working regularly on the border issue and covering the human trafficking, child trafficking, and drugs that has been coming through, just pouring through our border. And it's an ongoing fight, a battle every single day that is going on, and it gets absolutely no mainstream media attention. They don't want people to even be aware that this is an ongoing crisis that we have going on with our country. And she works with both the National Guard and U.S. Border Patrol agents to get videos and pictures and to help document the problems that we face. And without further ado, just give Vicky a warm welcome. And Vicky, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me at your show. So I'm also a veteran. I'm served 8.5 years in the German Army Special Forces PsyOps. And yeah, so from this training, I'm able to do my work at the border as a war journalist. And yeah, I saw very shocking things there. And I think it's really important to publish all that stuff and start talking about it, because child trafficking, human trafficking, even drug smuggling is the real pandemic in the world. And it's not a freaking little virus, which everybody wants us to believe in is the pandemic. No, it's the silent truth about pedophiles and global elites trafficking children from Venezuela or Guatemala to America through Mexico, or even in Europe from German households. They're trafficking, or they're going to lose their children at the government, and then they got trafficked. So this is a global problem, and we have to start talking about it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So let's let's get into it, and I'm going to play some of the video that you've taken from Texas, I think it is, and then just kind of talk about what's going on and kind of describe the situation here as we play through these here.
Yeah, what we see is the Rio Grande, that was Roma in Texas, and in this.
Okay, here's the output.
Well, sorry. In this video, traffickers tried to cross the Rio Grande with a little boat, and they tried that, and this night 4 times, and at the 4th time, 2 little children could cross the Rio Grande. But in this video now we see in the next few seconds National Guard pointing them with flashlights so they stop crossing the river. Yeah, here we go. There you see the boat, the people. A bunch of people in one boat, but yeah, as Marine, you know that it could be a lot of people in a boat. So
yeah, if they have one person, they might have more people just waiting, in the bushes on the other side that you can't see too. So if it's safe, they might make multiple crossings in the same spot.
So they tried it here on that side of the river, and we saw the bridge. now right from us. They tried it on that side too, so they always tried both sides. And yeah, and this evening, on the other side was a sniper who pointed on me. But this is a psyops game from them, so they point on the National Guard. The National Guard points back, so it's like, okay,
Mm,
we know you are here.
yeah. So we have the second video now, and let's play that. Let's cue this one up.
Yeah, so this was 2 hours before the National Guard. This is in La Jolla, in Texas, and this group of children just crossed the border, and now they are going to the facilities where they get processed. And at this spot, we found a lot of clothes and even medication. So what the
Mm,
cartels always do is they get a bunch of ill people, like they are coughing, they have even the flu or the COVID, you don't know, but they get ill on their journey from Venezuela to Mexico to America, because they don't really they walk a lot and they go through rain and stuff, so they catch some diseases. And then that the border patrol doesn't put them in quarantine, and they give them a bunch of flu medication, and all the way at this near this fence were covered with medication against flu, even against diarrhea, and a bunch of medication, even child birth control medication, because most of the girls and even the little girls got raped on their way in Mexico. So they give them the pill after. So we call it
Jesus.
in Germany the pill after, so that they just don't get pregnant. And but if they get pregnant on their way from Guatemala, or they are getting birth really early, they don't stop the pregnancy, because then they can sell the baby for
Jesus.
thousands of dollars, because young babies are very famous for rich families which can't get children, so they're gonna buy this from the traffickers too.
God, that's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like shocking, maybe, for a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people really realize what is happening and why it's happening, and like just the evil that is behind the purpose and the intent of these open borders.
Yeah.
And you just heard it from Vicky, who works there on a regular basis, as to why, these people are bringing these kids into our country, into the United States. And people need to wake up, and we really need to start doing something about this. And we'll get into a little bit more about what can be done a little later on. I want to share a few pictures that that Vicky took here. So we talked about the human aspect of it. So they're pretty ingenious on the way that they hide drugs, and so let's take a look at that. This is a a picture of a tire that's been completely put with narcotics. I'm assuming it's either
It's
cocaine,
fentanyl.
fentanyl. Yeah, that's the new drug of choice, I suppose, these days. Go figure. Here is another back of a pickup truck. And how many people were back there, did you say?
7 people were in that truck.
Okay, and they were just covered with blankets
Yes.
rolling across.
Yeah. And the guy who's just getting up, he's really happy, because okay, he's illegal, but the border patrol just can welcome them and put them into the facility. They can't even bring him back. So
Yeah.
at this night I was with the Pinal County K9 unit. Pinal County is very famous in Arizona. Maybe everyone knows
Yeah.
Glenn, the American sheriff. I work really close with him, so he got me the chance to go with the K9 unit, that I could make those pictures, and it's
Very cool.
really shocking. It's actually shocking, because you see the picture with the only the car with the blankets on, and then you see a little bit moving in the blanket, and you say, okay.
Mhm.
And then when they realize, okay, there's somebody standing next to it, they just stay still. You can't only hear a little bit breathing.
Yeah. Well, I imagine he's happy because he just got
Tickle.
a free hotel stay and an airplane ticket to a town near you.
Yeah, near Florida.
They're shipping them. They're
Yeah,
shipping them all over the United States to your communities right now. Here's another big group of people.
yeah, this is in Pima County. This is at directly at the wall, and this is actually a number of people which crosses every night
Mm,
in one hole. So you can imagine how many people are crossing your borders every month. So it's 200,000 people which are signed in or crossed illegal and signed in by the border patrol. But you have to think, two-thirds are more coming who are not recognized at border
right.
patrol. And this is only for distraction. So they send the bunch of groups with the children through the holes. So border patrol is distracted and has to deal with them.
Right.
And then the illegals with the high-end products, what we call them, with the super nice children or with the drugs or with the guns, cross the border in another hole, so they can just go through.
Right. Yeah. So they tie up one
Yeah.
group of agents or National Guard at one location, and then the others slip through as kind of a distraction. Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah. They're not dumb.
Yeah. And this is one group that was 4 o'clock in the night.
A lot of kids.
Yeah, actually,
Mostly
there
kids.
were 50 people in that group with 2 adults.
Wow. That's insane. So what is up with all of these cell phones that they've got? Like what are they doing with all these cell phones?
So these are Coyote phones. They are actually you can find them everywhere on the Mexican side when you go through the hole, and because this is the way how they communicate, and they throw them away. So this is when they can say, okay, we are crossing now the border. We send you the coordinates, and then they throw them away. And they're so arrogant that they even keep the data on it. So they make jokes about it, how they traffic a little girl from Venezuela the whole way through Mexico and to America, and they even make videos how they're gonna rape this girl, and they let it on those phones. They just don't even delete it. They just let it on and be happy with it. So I can't really understand it. It's important for me to have those intel that I can expose it. But you see the evil in this work. They don't even care. It's business. It's like, okay, I gonna go to the butcher and buy me some meat.
Yeah, they don't care. They do not care whatsoever what
No.
they do to these people or these kids.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, in America, if people haven't noticed, we have a growing problem with pedophilia and you know, the attempt here to make pedophilia, you know, the next acceptable realm of whatever you want to call it. You know, there's growing concern over that here, and you see that our southern border being wide open is, you know, a direct lifeline to sustain these people who have a taste for young kids, and it's absolutely disgusting. And the longer that we do nothing about this, and like the longer that Americans, you know, don't get concerned, like I don't understand how any normal human being could not hate this. Like this is like the most evil thing that I can ever imagine. You know, like I can't imagine something more evil than people who are literally preying on children and trying to get these children into my country, to allow people in my country to do illegal things with these children. It's absolutely the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And anybody who supports pedophilia, you're on my shit list. Okay, there's something wrong with you. So let's take a look at the border wall.
Yeah.
Here you can go ahead and you can talk about this greatness here that we have.
Yeah. So this is a wonderful example for how beautiful your wall is. So every time when a freaking Republican, so-called I love my border security and I support border security Republican politician tells you, or these holes are all random. That's totally bullshit. So I have military background, and we were trained how to use our environment. And when you see those holes, they are tactical. They're not like, okay, we ran out of gear or something, or there are some bunch of lakes through, so you can't fill them up or close them. No, they are tactical, because when you go straight from this hole 11 miles through the desert, you end up in an NGO camp from the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I was reading about that. Yeah. So they're using non-government, nonprofit organizations to support the trafficking of kids. That's wonderful.
And those camps, I was at one camp in Pima County, and there was no child. It's a refugee camp. There are no women, nothing. They were all good grown-up guys, which totally fit into this Coyote schema. And when you follow the way through the desert, you find a bunch of clothing, camouflage clothing. So the Coyotes first, before they before they go through the wall, they change their civil clothes in Mexico into camouflage clothes, so they're invisible at night or in the desert. And then when they go through the holes, they start changing their clothes.
Right.
So, and this is why a border patrol is not really allowed to stop people in civil clothes, but they are totally allowed to stop Hispanics, or it sounds really racist, but people in camouflage clothes, because then they have a little evidence. Okay, they're not really cool, so we can just keep them and talk with them and maybe put them in custody. So this is why you find a lot of camouflage and even carpet shoes in the desert. So they try to destroy their footsteps. And what also this NGO, so here you see the wonderful hole. And this is only hole number 2. So we have, when you go further, you see 3 other holes. So there are 5 only on that side.
Wow. That's just in one little location that you're at. There's five different holes that size. Yeah, there's no point. There's no point. I don't even like that. Doesn't even make sense, because you see one side of the wall, and then you see the other side of the wall, and there's just a hole left there.
Yeah, and every time a governor from the governor from Arizona or from Texas, because it's the same in Texas too, and I think it's the same in California and in New Mexico too, say, oh, they are random. What I said, sorry for my French, but that's bullshit. This is made of, and then you have to start asking, how can that be under a governmental or a Republican governmental or a Republican government? Because it's not even only a Democrat problem. Okay, since Biden, the border crisis exploded.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, it's intentional. I mean, if you look at the immigration that happened in Europe, from Turkey or, primarily Muslim countries, I think it's something like 10 million Muslim immigrants came to Germany, with a country that has the population of 70 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you have Merkel, who is supposed to be, kind of a conservative, right? And they said that you have a labor shortage, right? They said Germany has a labor shortage. And so we need to bring all of these people, and they're not going to stay here forever. They're just going to be here for a little while. And then all of a sudden they're there permanently. And, oh, by the way, they've brought their entire families and their cousins and their brothers and their sisters and their children and their grandchildren. And now you have, 1/7 of the total population of Germany being imported in a matter of 10 years. And then crime and drugs and rape and violence and all of that stuff that comes with it is now in every German community. And people aren't even allowed to talk about it. The police, they don't record ethnicity when it comes to crimes if it's, quote, an immigrant, because they're supposed to hide all of that. And it's
really hide. they don't really hide it. So what Germany is doing with it? So what you said with the millions of immigrants or the refugees are coming, there are a bunch of young dudes.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, they come from Iraq or Afghanistan, that there are old guy people, or they are women and children. No, the first wave was only young, healthy guys.
Right.
And when I have to think that my army, the Bundeswehr, your army has to go to Afghanistan and fight for their freedom, and even their own people can't stay there to fight for their freedom,
Yeah.
this is a problem. But they should be stay there and fight for their freedom and fight for their country. No, they came to Germany. And the big problem with our refugees is that when they rape someone, and you hear that in the news, they say, okay, there was a group rape of a 13-year-old girl, but they don't say anything about the race topic. But if
they do the same thing on our border too, and it's the same. It's the same with the males here too.
Correct.
80. Make no mistake. Most of the border problems that we have here in the United States, it's like 85% are military age males aged 18 to 45.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I totally understand that, but the problem is in Germany when then a German person. So I don't say that all rapes are only refugees or people who are not Germans from birth. No, I don't say that. I'm not a racist. But what is very obvious is when a German person or guy or dude rapes a child or a woman, it says immediately a German 17-year-old person raped a girl at school. So there's a whole story around it. And when there's no information about, okay, this is that happened in a refugee house or something, and after that the big discussion starts. Hey, the girl is actually, it was her fault because she didn't wear her skirt was too short or something. So they find excuses for them, and I think this is the wrong way to put it. It's more saving the violent part than helping the victims.
Well, I mean, it's social engineering is what they're doing. Is they're trying to drum up hate against one group and prevent it from another, because they want one particular group to be, have safe status, and the other group is supposed to be demonized. And they do the same thing here in the United States too, when it comes to that sort of stuff. And it's unfortunate because, I mean, what you're doing is you're taking away from what happened to the victims, and you're not putting the truth out. So this is another section you got a picture of. What the heck is this? What is this?
That's the old wall.
God, it's not even.
But that's a wall.
A waste of money.
that is what your government, at the time when they built that, called wall.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that stops nothing. That's unbelievable. So, what else? Is there anything else that you want to kind of cover, Vicky? You want to talk about some of the organizations you got going on? Because you're involved in a lot of stuff these days.
Kind of. So, yeah, where shall I start? First of all, please don't support the Super Bowl today.
Yeah.
Because Super Bowl is one of the biggest events of the flesh market for child trafficking and human trafficking. So you only have to. So it's very obvious when you when you do Google search, and you just put child trafficking and Super Bowl. There are 20 mainstream media articles pumping up about, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. There is no. You can't combine child trafficking with Super Bowl. This is so obvious that you have to put it together. Even there is a report from 2016 from the FBI talking about how much child trafficking and human trafficking happens at sports events all over the world, and the Super Bowl is the worst. Because millions of people are watching this event all over the world, and many elites looking at it and watching it, and they need some advertising. While the commercials, maybe, I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, well, they say a lot of it is because you have like disposable income, people who have disposable income there, wealthier individuals who are the ones who typically can afford, young children for that sort of stuff. And so obviously when you have these type of events, you have people who have that disposable income, and then they attend the events, and then of course they use their money for other things other than the sporting event. So yeah, but other than that, go ahead, Vicky.
Yeah. So this is very important for me today. We just sent a sign to the elites that we don't obey and we don't support that, and they earn money from watching it. So
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
watch.
lots of money. You turn that television on and you watch the Super Bowl, you're giving your money and ad revenue to people who hate America. They're communists. They're highly funded from China, and so as a result, protesting of our national anthem and not wanting to stand for the flag. And actually, another thing that people don't know, when you see the military jets flying over and soldiers or Marines out on the field here for football, the NFL is not letting them out there for free because they're patriots. They're not letting our veterans and our military out there because out of the kindness of their heart. That goes into a recruiting budget. So our recruiting budgets, it's usually the Army because they have like one of the bigger recruiting budgets. The Marine Corps, we eat nails for breakfast basically because that's all we can afford is some chewing gum and some Tic Tacs. But
We're not the German army, okay?
yeah, that goes into a recruiting budget, and basically out of that recruiting budget, our military, so your tax dollars is actually paying the NFL. Your tax dollars that are used for our military is then delegated to a recruiting budget, and then that recruiting budget with your tax dollars now pays the NFL just so we can put a flag out on the field and have a couple of soldiers out there. Now you think about that. The NFL does not care about America. They hate America, and they're just doing whatever they can to make money. And it's not that they're patriotic. It's not that the hosts, Troy Aikman or whoever the hell else is on there talking about that stuff. They've caught those guys saying negative things about the United States and about veterans and our military too. So if you're a patriot and you love the United States and you love your country, and you're tuning in to watch NFL and you're buying the NFL pass and all that stuff, you're smoking crack with Hunter Biden, because you're supporting an organization that is trying to destroy America in whatever way they can, and they're highly funded by China. So that tells you everything you need to know. So if you're watching that today and you love your country, well, what you say and what you do, it's not adding up. The math doesn't add up. So please turn that shit off.
Yeah, but that's the same with Disney. So if you go to Disney World or go to a cinema and watch a Marvel movie, even I love Marvel because I'm a big Marvel fan, but actually you shouldn't watch that because Disney is one of the biggest supporter of child trafficking and pedophilia. They even have it in their movies. If you know the symbols, now you can say, okay, this is conspiracy theory. You are a freaking QAnon person, but I'm not. You only have to go to your freaking FBI homepage and search for the pedophile signs, and then they just show up. So this is evidence, and every mainstream media wants to frame it as conspiracy theory because people are waking up right now, and people trying to understand and starting to understand that this whole global government scenario is just to shock us and to put us in a kind of slavery.
It's really pretty much cultural Marxism, and what I mean by that is everything that you see that is degenerate, that is against nuclear families, that is against anything that is like good to help have a healthy culture, healthy families, healthy children, political decisions, laws that are being created to, promote pedophilia or lowering the ages of consent, stuff like that. All of this stuff that is degenerate is meant to rip apart American society, and the drugs is another thing. Drugs are a huge problem too, because it makes people into zombies. It makes people dependent on chemical substances. and then it pulls those people out of the workforce and they become a burden on society. It's the same thing with child abuse. It's the same thing with child rape and child sexual trauma. All of that stuff breaks people as a child, and that child grows up into a broken adult that cannot function properly in society. And when you add the numbers up, the million, I don't remember what the number is, but I think it's something like 800,000 American children go missing every year. And these are American kids that are trafficked, by the way. These are American kids that are kidnapped in your own communities and are sold into the sex trade. In our own country, there's 800,000 American children go missing every single year. It's disgusting, and it needs to freaking stop. And people are just not aware of it. Like, you want to talk about real societal issues that we have going on in America, and you can't sit there and tell me we can't do anything about it or that we can't fix it. We paid $60 million a day while we were in Afghanistan, at the lower end of that conflict. At the high end of that conflict, when we had Iraq and Afghanistan rolling, and this went on for 20 fucking years, we were paying $700 million a day to run those two wars. And that went on for 20 years. And what did we get out of that? What did America get from that? Look at all the problems that we have in the United States right now. You mean to tell me that we wasted that money for 20 years and then we just left? That's a whole nother discussion. I've got different videos on that topic in and of itself. But we are not investing our money to help Americans in our own country, and it's getting worse. And it's just unbelievable that most people don't even know about it. If it doesn't hit the mainstream news, it doesn't get talked about, it doesn't get issues, and that's why me and Vicky are here today to talk about that stuff. So, yeah.
And what you say about bringing awareness to the neighbors or to the households in America, this is what I'm trying to start is a training program for American parents to teach them the signs if their child are targeted by traffickers, because there are signs like a guy who is taking his dog out every day at the same time, but he doesn't belong to the neighborhood, or the same car is coming around your neighborhood every day and it doesn't really belong to a neighborhood. Or what does it mean when you only find one shoe somewhere laying around? Or what does it mean when in a group of 7 children in Disney World wears a yellow dress? These are signs of child trafficking and pedophiles getting into your communities and communicate between each other and trying to target your child. And those are informations. We all have that. You can get them. You just have to listen to people who are fighting this. And I try to make this published in an article, and maybe then going on a tour through America, and maybe I can work with Moms for America together. I try to talk to them if they even can make parents in America aware of what are the signs for child trafficking. Because
there's been quite a few instances where women are inside like a store like Target with their kids, and they'll be approached in the store and kind of followed, and they wait for you to come outside of the store, and they've already got the van like waiting in the parking lot, and they just roll up on you. They take your kids, and it's over. Or they'll see you as you come into the store, and they'll mark what car you have, and they'll put something on your windshield so that once you try to like remove it from the windshield, because you're going to do that before you're going to be like, what is this? Before you try to get your kids in the car.
Yep.
And then as you're trying to take it from the windshield, they roll up on you, they shove your kids in the van, and they're gone. You gotta be able to research. If you have kids and you love your children, learn to recognize these signs. I mean, you can open source, look for some of this stuff on the internet yourself. And the other thing I would always love to promote is, utilizing your Second Amendment rights. Get yourself some range time and get yourself a concealed carry permit, and stay strapped. So, when one of these traffickers tries to roll up on you, send them to meet Jesus face to face. Take care of it.
I'm jealous. I can't do this.
So, but Yeah, unless you got anything else, Vicky, thanks for coming on the show and your work. I've been following your work for a long time, watching your videos and definitely um, paying attention to every time you let me know you're going down there. I'm like, oh man, Vicky's gonna get some more good stuff. So also support Vicky. She has a Telegram page as well called Vicky the Red Sparrow. Sign up and subscribe. She covers a lot of stuff, and we bounce ideas off of each other pretty often and try to work together on a lot of these issues that's facing, not just the United States, but other countries as well. And we're all in this stuff together, and we just want to make the world a better, safer place for good people to thrive and be safe. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I would love to say something because now you have a bunch of grassroots candidates who try to run for office in Congress or Senate, and they are veterans. Support them, because most of them, they don't really want to run for office because they are not politicians, and they are the right candidates to support. People who don't want to be a politician are the best politicians.
Exactly. Yeah, we definitely need a lot of that stuff right now, and everybody is aware of the rhinos in the Republican Party that are just sitting there and trying to pretend like they give a crap, and they really don't. They're in it for the money, and the reality is that most of these people, both Democrats and Republicans, are either blackmailed or bribed or controlled in some other way or shape or form, because there's no. It's the only explanation to explain why they do things that are anti-American and just, do things that don't benefit us. It's because they are blackmailed, because they're probably in, the Jeffrey Epstein case. I mean, look no further than the people who visited Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island down there with the Ghislaine Maxwell case. You have some very highly, celebrities and very wealthy people, billionaires that are in charge of these tech companies, specifically Supreme Court justices, former presidents of the United States that were on that list. And I'm not really sure why none of that is really getting covered whatsoever. You have all these huge celebrities and people who are well known in politics and American business, multi-billionaires here running multi-billion-dollar corporations, and we see their faces on TV every single day. And they were on this island that was specifically used for child trafficking and child sex crimes, and they got videotaped doing it. And so when you tell me that our politicians are not blackmailed, Epstein's Island was a human trafficking operation for underage children for years. This went on. And our politicians and our business people took part in that. And the flight logs, you can read for yourself the names of the people that were on his flight logs. So why are we not hearing about people getting arrested for this shit? That's enough circumstantial evidence, if you ask me. And there's also evidence that shows that foreign intelligence agencies were taking part in collection of that stuff too. But you don't hear any of that on the mainstream media. You don't hear any of that on the news, and all these people are still running around enjoying their millions of dollars while people are struggling right now with record high inflation. We have the border crisis. Gas here by me is like $3.30 a gallon. It's freaking ridiculous. It's insane. Yeah. So yeah, time to wake up, folks. But let's go. We'll take one look at the chat here real quick. You got a couple of fans in the live chat, Vicky. We got South Carolina Patriot and Jeffrey saying hello from Michigan. South Carolina Patriot says hi, Vicky.
Hi.
And saying he hasn't watched the Super Bowl in like 10 years. Yeah, it's probably a good thing. You're not missing much. You're missing a bunch of adult men trying to beat each other up to catch a ball, and run up and down a field. Congratulations. Yeah.
But this is what I actually do.
That's pretty much what they do. Basketball players, what do? You got a bunch of guys who run on a wood court and try to throw a ball in a hoop. Hey, that's awesome. Good job, man. That's great. So, but anyways, that's pretty much all we got for the show today. Thanks for everybody who's watching us on the live stream, and thanks for everybody that took part and left us a couple of comments in the live chat. Vicky, you got anything else you want to say?
No, just wake up and keep your country free, because you don't want to end up like our country in Germany ended up. So keep your Second Amendment.
Right on. Everybody have a good one. Don't
Yeah.
watch the Super Bowl tonight.
Don't worry.
Watch anything but that.
Yeah. And
Watch this show. Send
yeah,
this show to everybody. Yeah.
and that's it.
Share and like. Thanks, guys. Thanks, y'all. Have
Bye.
a good one.